Hey guys, it's me, your favorite YouTuber. I always try to do something groundbreaking in each video, and for the last video, we kinda went too far. I'm sure you all know about the infamous Amityville house in Long Island. It's considered to be one of the top most haunted houses in America. Last week, I went there with my friends Chris and Chandler, and I would like to share the terrifying experience we had. One morning, I woke up and got a call from Chandler. As I picked up the phone, he said, "Hey man, I just got permission to spend the night at the Amityville house, though the bank said we would be entering there at our own risk." I got charged up with excitement. Even though the house is available for stay at the cost of $850,000, no one dares to buy it. We didn't have that intention either, so we only arranged it for one night. I texted Chris to start packing, as tomorrow we'll be going there. I got up from bed and made some breakfast. The doorbell rang and a delivery guy brought the equipment that I would be needing to shoot there. I ordered some of the best quality walkie-talkies, night vision cameras, noise-canceling headphones, and a remote-controlled temperature detector. It's said by paranormal researchers that sudden drops in temperature signify that a spirit is nearby. I don't know exactly if it'll work, but there's no harm in checking it. So, finally, at around 9 p.m., Chandler and Chris came to pick me up, and we started our journey. It was a warm summer night. We were all extremely excited. You all know Chandler, even though he was a bit scared, was trying hard to suppress it by making jokes. I was driving the car while Chandler sat beside me, and Chris on my back. Suddenly, Chris said, "Never thought we'd get to spend a night at the Amityville house. I hope you're well aware of the history of this house, Chandler." I laughed and said, "Why don't you tell us in detail, Chris? It'll take half an hour or more to reach there, and anyway, I never got the complete story of why that house became so terrifying in the first place." "Sure. I did quite a bit of research on that house over the past few weeks, so here you go." In the early morning hours of November 13th, 1974, a man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his mother, father, and 4 siblings while they slept in their suburban home at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York. DeFeo was convicted for their murders, and he remained in prison today. Now, this brutal mass murder made the house infamous. It became available for stay again. In December 1975, the Lutz family moved in, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, but lasted just 28 days in the house. Now, they said terrifying paranormal activities took place during their stay, which they linked to the murders. There were sightings of demons, such as one night the kids saw a man standing at the end of the corridor and watching them. Then, objects moved on their own. Suppose they were having dinner, when suddenly a chair nearby slid on its own. They even saw slime pouring from the walls. There was also a fly infestation in the dead of winter. Mr. Lutz claimed to hear strange demonic voices, as if people were whispering in the walls. They were also attacked by unseen forces. Now, after they left, the house remained vacant for a long time, but owners do come and go. None of them reported any supernatural sightings so far. The house is going to be auctioned soon to find its new buyer, so tonight we'll be on our own at that house. I won't lie, I got goosebumps after realizing that this is where we'll be spending the night tonight. At around 1 a.m. we reached our destination. It was my idea to go there at that hour, and I still regret that. As I drove the car close to the house, I could tell everyone's heartbeat got faster. The area was completely quiet. After all, it was past midnight, and we were at the Amityville house. "Here comes the Amityville house. You ready for some horror, guys?" I said. Chandler didn't laugh, because I could already sense the nervousness in him. We parked the car near the house. Chandler had the key, so he led us. We took our equipment and followed him. After unlocking the door, we entered the house. The wide living room stood in front of us, followed by a huge wooden staircase right in the middle. "The bedrooms are upstairs," Chandler said. "Yeah, that's where the cops found the bloody bodies of the entire family," I said, and we started to arrange our cameras. You know what I found most disturbing about this entire murder? What? All of the 6 family members were found dead in that room. and all of them were sleeping, facing upside down on the bed. Don't you think that's a bit unusual? I laughed and said, well, the entire story's unusual. I mean, some people say there's been a second murderer involved in the case who never got caught. Can you imagine how terrifying that is? I mean, guys, what was that? We took out our flashlights and started to walk upstairs. The house had electricity, but we chose to keep the lights off for a spooky ambiance. Our heavy steps were making the wooden stairs creak. We stopped in front of the first bedroom door. Chris said in a low voice, "This was the room of Mr. and Mrs. DeFeo. Their son, Ronald DeFeo, must have shot them from where they were standing now." His words gave me chills. Suddenly, I saw Chandler was nowhere. The hair on the back of my neck stood up like sharp needles. "Where's Chandler? He was right behind us." "I don't know. I thought he was coming with you." Chris and I immediately started looking for him. "Chandler? Chandler! Where are you?" We checked all the bedrooms upstairs, but he wasn't there. We came down rushing, and I was just about to take the last step when Chandler jumped from the darkness, scaring the hell out of us. And you guys thought that I would be the one who would be scared easily. Not funny, you dumbass. Come on, Chandler, if you're so brave, then prove it. Don't try to scare us like a kid, I said in an angry voice. But I did scare you, didn't I? Chandler started to laugh again. "Okay, you think you're brave enough? I challenge you. If you could spend 5 minutes inside any one of those bedrooms in the dark, I'll buy you anything you ask for." "Fine. Which room do you want me to go in?" "Why not Ronald DeFeo's room?" Chris added. "Sure. Switch on your walkie-talkies. And if you guys try and prank me, then I'll be the winner by default. Remember that." "None of us will prank you. Let's just see how brave you are." Chandler walked upstairs and we followed him. "Here I go. See you guys after 5 minutes." He then went inside the bedroom and locked the door from inside. Chris and I stood in a distance and started our stopwatch for the countdown. "It's dark in here, guys, but I can take this," Chandler said in his walkie-talkie. "No talking. Just be quiet." A minute went by and nothing happened. The house was getting really cold all of a sudden. I checked the time on my phone and it was 3:10 already. So far, we didn't see anything paranormal. Hence, Chris was getting impatient. We waited like that for 4 minutes straight. No one was talking. It was just pin-drop silence. Chris was shooting the incident on his camera. I think Chandler was right. This place is not at all haunted. But as soon as Chris said that, the doorknob started to go up and down horrifyingly. "Chandler, stop doing your sick stunts. You aren't scaring us anymore." "What? I can't even see the doorknob. It's so dark. You guys are doing this to scare me." The doorknob was moving like crazy. I don't know what happened inside, but I heard Chandler screaming at the top of his lungs. Chris and I bolted on the door. "Chandler, open the door!" But no sound came from inside. Chandler's walkie-talkie lost its connection as well. Without thinking much, we kicked hard on the door together, and it swung open. Chandler was lying on the floor, unconscious. He was gagging in fear. Chris and I lifted his hands onto our shoulders, and we were about to leave the house just when we heard a huge gunshot right in the room. Someone fired from the darkness of the room, and a sudden flash of light took place. In that flash, we saw 2 bloody dead bodies lying on their stomach on the same bed where Mr. and Mrs. DeFeo were murdered. "Oh my God! We have to get out of this house right now! Hurry, Chris!" I can't explain how we got out of that house carrying Chandler, but as soon as I got into the car, we locked the door and drove away. On the way home, Chris and I didn't say a single word, except when we reached home. Chris said, "I noticed the time when the doorknob started to move rapidly. It was at 3:15 a.m. So, what happened at 3:15 a.m.? I asked. George Lutz was said to wake up at 3:15 a.m. every morning, which was around the time Ronald DeFeo carried out his murders. Before starting the story, I would suggest you guys to go subscribe to the channel. It turns out that most of you guys who watch me aren't actually subscribed. So, if you like the content and want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Last month, I took my wife on a road trip. After reaching 109 million subscribers on my YouTube channel, I could finally take some break from work. Not bragging, but I am glad people loved my content and showered me with love. Anyways, we were driving amidst the woods. My wife, Marzia, loves traveling. I turned on some music and rolled down the windows of my car. The weather was soothing. Cold wind combined with the sweet smell of wildflowers refreshed us. I am loving this. This place is so quiet, isn't it, Felix? Yeah. Hey, can you hear the sound of the crickets? Isn't it unusual to hear them chirping in daytime? Well, they say it's always night inside the woods. Tall trees were surrounding us. As I tried to look into them, I realized Marzia was right. Even in the broad daylight, the woods appeared to be dark and mysterious. I got distracted looking at the woods on my left, when suddenly Marzia screamed, "Watch out!" I immediately looked ahead, and out of panic pressed the brakes too hard. The car stopped, making a creaking noise. Oh my god, are you alright, hon? Yes, I'm fine. What was that? I got down from the car and walked ahead to check. There were rotten remains of a deer lying in front of our car. Marzia came out and stood beside me. Some car must have run over this poor animal, I said. I don't think so. Why do you say that? Look at the stomach area. Marzia pointed to the stomach of the dead deer, and I realized she was right. The deer's stomach was cut open. Someone sliced up these poor animals, making the entrails gush out. It was a pretty disturbing sight. The smell's making me nauseous. I'm gonna go inside the car. Marzia got in the car and closed the car door quite loudly. I picked up a long wooden branch lying on the side of the road and started to move the dead animal from the middle of the road. While I was doing this, I heard footsteps on rustling leaves coming from the woods. These woods are completely wild, and it's absurd to think that there could be a house or residence inside it. I turned around and kept staring at the darkness amidst the long tree. Felix? What's taking you so long? Nothing. Coming in a minute, hon. The sound stopped as soon as Marzia called for me. Even though I was 100% sure that those were the sounds of footsteps on dry leaves, I ignored them. After moving the dead animal from our way, I came back to the car. I started the engine and we took off again. We planned to visit our friends at their farmhouse. The farmhouse was quite far, hence we decided to go by road. Marzia wanted to enjoy the view of nature, hence we made this plan. I wanted to reach the farmhouse before dawn, because driving amidst the woods after dark is not a good option. There's a high chance of getting lost, and due to network issues, our GPS wasn't functioning properly as well. While driving, something really weird started to happen. Marzia and I both could smell a reeking odor inside the car. It was odd because none of us stepped on the rotten flesh. Marzia got nauseous, so I had to stop the car after traveling for a mile or so. I think you need to get some fresh air. The smell of rotten flesh has hit your mind. It'll take us 1 or 2 hours before reaching the farmhouse. It's 3 p.m. already, but I think we can take a break for 15 to 20 minutes. I thought I would drive faster a bit and reach the farmhouse before dawn. I just wanted to make sure my wife felt all right before I started driving again. Do you hear that? Marzia said in a surprised voice. Hear what? The sound of water. Lots and lots of water. I tried to listen carefully and heard water splashing rapidly somewhere in close distance. Damn, Marzia has way better hearing than mine. It could be a river or a waterfall inside the forest. Let's go see it. I don't think it's too far from here. We started to walk into the woods, following the sound of water. So many unknown birds were chirping around us. The rustling sound of leaves made us feel that we weren't alone in these woods. After walking for a mile like this, we finally reached the source of the sound. It was a wild river. The current was really heavy, and the water flow was a lot. Marzia sat on the bank, dipping her feet into the water. I was a bit worried because of the heavy current, but she was careful on her own, so I didn't say anything. The view was breathtaking. Green trees were all around. It was a light blue sky and this huge, unstoppable river. I could breathe the fresh air without any worry. I took out my phone and started to click pictures. While I was doing so, my eyes went to the other side of the river. I saw a creepy-looking man standing on the other side of the river and watching Marzia with his dead, cold eyes. I wanted to tell him to get lost, but he wasn't doing anything, just standing under a tall tree and watching us. Felix, did you see that guy there? Why is he staring at us like a freak? Ignore him, Marzia. Must be some homeless person. Marzia was dangling her feet in the water. I was happy to see her all charged up and relaxed at the same time. I thought to wash my face in the clear river water, so I walked towards the edge and crouched on the ground to touch the water. Hun, can you please hold my phone while I wash my hands and face? Sure, give me... I gave her my phone and started to wash my hands in the cold, clear water. Marzia took the phone from me and started to click pictures. She walked into the shallow water at some distance from the bank. Now she was standing in the river. The water level was up to her knee. Please don't go too far, hon. The water current is really strong in the middle of the river. Yeah, I'll be fine. I got busy washing my hands. As soon as I splashed the water on my face, I saw the man on the other side wasn't there anymore, and I immediately heard my wife screaming out loud. I looked and saw Marzia was drowning in the river, and that creepy man was pulling her. She was screaming like crazy. I jumped right into the river without wasting a single second. By that time, the man had pulled Marzia into the depth of the river, and now he started to swim away towards the opposite side of the river right where we first saw him. I knew that if I didn't catch her soon, she would float away due to the water current. I swam as fast as I could. I saw her hand floating away and I realized I wouldn't be able to reach her in time. Suddenly, I noticed a huge log floating on her left, stuck in the mud deep down. Grab that log, hon! Grab it, now! The heavy water flow mixed with the fear of being pulled down by some creepy stranger might have numbed her in pain. But thank God she stretched her hand and grabbed the log with all of her strength. I swam with more speed, and with great difficulty I caught her hand and pulled her right from the water. When I sat her down on the bank, she was panting and sobbing in fear. I looked at the other side, thinking that if I caught that psycho, I would choke him into this river. But he was nowhere to be found. We didn't stay there for one more second. We got inside the car, and I don't know why, but I went to the back to check the trunk. I realized before leaving from home I forgot to lock it, and as I opened it, my stomach dropped in horror. There was dirt all over the trunk. A foul smell was coming from it. And not just that, I saw torn out shoes lying inside the trunk. I realized that the dead deer we came across was nothing but a trap set by that same creepy man who attacked us a few moments back. While we were talking and inspecting the dead deer, the man might have crawled inside the trunk and came all this way with us. The reeking smell in the car was coming from his body. I still don't know why he tried to kill us, or even followed us. But a few months later, after this incident, I read about the mysterious death of a high school teenager. The cops said she went hiking in the woods with her friends and got into the same river for a swim, but somehow she floated away in the current. But her friends said she was suddenly dragged by an unknown force into the middle of the river, though they didn't see anyone suspicious around. Do you think it was just an accident? Or is that man still there, waiting for his next victim? Hey, it's Corpse here. Those who see my YouTube channel will understand that I use my pseudonym, Corpse Husband, to keep my identity a secret. I always try to bring out true, scary stories to entertain my viewers. But trust me guys, reading scary stories and witnessing a horrifying incident in real life are two very different things. And I don't think any story will scare me more than what I experienced a few days back. It was a Saturday night. I was coming home from a friend's house after attending a party. Needless to say, I was a bit drunk, and it was late. I don't exactly remember the time, but I guessed it was around 2 a.m. in the morning. The streets were empty. My friends stayed up the hill on the outskirts of the city. It was a 10 to 15 minute walk to my house, which is why I didn't care to bring my car that day. I thought about what could happen in such a short period, But now I realized how wrong I was, because it only takes a second for danger to arrive. Now back to the story. As I already said, I was walking alone. The streetlights stood in the distance, making the area a dome of light and shadow. The township is down the hill where I live. All this way, there's no other house except deep woods of long pine trees. It was a chilly winter night. I was walking slowly because I didn't want to tumble on stones and fall on this steep road. The ambiance around me was so damn quiet that I could even hear my heartbeat. I should have stayed back tonight, I muttered to myself. My hands were freezing, so I put them in my pocket while walking. But the cold was rising more and more. Hollow winds started to blow, and it created a bizarre sound around me, as if the woods were screaming at me in a demonic way. It might have been 7 minutes of the walk when suddenly I had to stop. I heard a muffled cry coming from the woods to my right. I realized that I was in the middle of nowhere, so who the hell was crying at this time of night? I wanted to ignore it and walk away, but I couldn't. There was something in the cry that kept telling me that I should go check it out. Unwillingly, though, I walked into the woods. I have never imagined in my wildest dreams that woods could be this creepy. Maybe it was the darkness mixed with various sounds of wilderness that made it so. The night owls were hooting, and coyotes were howling to accompany them. The more I walked closer to the sound, it appeared to me. The cry signified that the woman was in pain, or something bad had happened to her. After walking for a few minutes like this, I came near a big rock. The crying sound was coming from the other side. I climbed on the rock and peeked. I saw a group of 6 people standing in a circle. In the middle of the circle, a huge pyre was burning. The fire was so high that I could even feel the heat from the distance. Among those 6 people, there was a girl maybe 15 to 16 years old. She was whimpering in fear looking at the pyre, so the cry I heard was her. "Shut up, shut up, shut up! How can you be such a coward, Ella? Don't you know the Lord of Darkness demands our sacrifice? Please, I just want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore." The man who was shouting at the girl so far did something unexpected now. He walked close to the fire and then started looking at the girl. Then, without saying anything, he put his hand inside the fire. The hand started to burn. A smell of burnt flesh grabbed the air, but the man didn't even scream. He was so cold and expressionless for that second. He didn't feel a thing. I was freaked out to see this man. The other people standing in the circle were standing like statues, as if it wasn't a big deal at all. They all seemed drugged. No one was moving or saying a single word. Everyone was staring at the man, listening to him like his puppets. "Please, I just want to go back to my mother. Let me go, please. I don't want to do this anymore." "There's no backing out, Kelly. The Dark Lord demands you. You can't go home once you've made him a promise. Look around you. Did anyone behave like you? They are all submitting themselves to the Dark Lord forever." The man then looked at the fire and walked close to the girl. He said in a soft voice, "You have nothing to fear. All you have to do is submit yourself to the fire. The fire will cleanse you, and you will rise from your ashes. You will die only once tonight, and then you will be immortal forever. We will all live forever, Kelly. Don't you want to free yourself from this silly circle of life and death? Think about it. We will all live forever. We won't age. No disease will be able to touch us. We will be invincible." Oh my god. This guy is fucking insane. He's gonna commit mass murder by brainwashing these young boys and girls into taking their own lives. I immediately called 911 without wasting a single second. I told them the address of the location and told them to hurry up. I was talking over the phone in a very low voice. I didn't want them to hear me or the man would throw me into the burning pyre first. I just finished talking when a spine-chilling scream took place. I peeked and saw a boy among them had set himself on fire. He had apparently jumped in right when I was talking to 911. I couldn't help but wait for the cops to arrive. The horror was happening right in front of my eyes. The boy was screaming while burning in terrible pain. All I could see was a human figure covered in fire from head to toe. The girl started to sob, screaming, "You guys are sick! You're killing him! Stop this madness!" The man looked at her and said, "Stare into the fire, Kelly. You will see the Dark Lord is staring back at you. I am only here to do the devil's work, to help him build his army." The air of the forest was filled with the smell of burning flesh. Clouds of black smoke started to come from the pyre. Slowly, the boy's scream faded away. I saw his body disappearing inside the raging fire. "Now, it's your turn, Kelly. Go in." "No! Never! Let me go! Let me go!" A girl and a boy grabbed Kelly and started to drag her towards the pyre. Right at that moment, I heard cop car sirens in the distance. The cops were here. They are here. "Police! Put your hands over your head and freeze right where you are! Arrest them all! Take that man into custody!" The man tried to run away, but 3 cops trapped him from all sides and pinned him down on the ground. "How did they come here? Who informed the cops? What the hell is going on?" He kept screaming and bashing his followers with foul language, but the cops dragged him into the cop car. I saw a middle-aged man and woman rushing towards Kelly. She ran to them and hugged them tightly. I realized that these must be her parents. It's sad to see how young minds are influenced by cult groups. I'm happy that I could save their lives that day. I still regret not being able to save the boy from killing himself out of stupid beliefs. But to all who are watching this, I just want to say sometimes all you need is a little urge to do good, without expecting to get praised by it. I'm sure none of them knows that I was the one who called the cops, and I don't care about that either. I'm just happy that I could help innocent lives from fading away.